In this video, we are going to be graphing linear functions by completing function tables. We'll be doing a lot more graphing later on in this course, but for now, we're going to start by plotting points. So we're going to use a function table in order to create those points so that we can graph them. So you see here I have a function. Now you'll notice that I have something here written that we're not used to seeing. This is f of x. That's how it's read, f of x. What this really is, it's just the y. So you can think of this as just the y, and you can think of this as just the y. But when we have functions, we are able to write the y in this form. This really means that y is a function of x. You'll learn more about that later. But now all I would like for you to be able to know is that when you see this f of x, it really just means y. So I have a table here set up, and I have some x values put in. We're going to use these x values to come up with our y values. So we're going to start here with our equation. It's y equals x minus 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each of these x values and replace it for x, and then solve for y. So I can start with -2. So I'm going to replace x with -2, and I'm going to do my math. So I have -2 minus 4. That's going to give me -6. So here in this table, I'm going to fill in -6 because when x equals -2, y equals -6. I'll go ahead and graph that. So I go over -2 and down 6. There we go. Let's make that so we can see it. There we go. Okay. Now we want to just replace that value here. This time I'm going to use 0. So 0 minus 4 is just -4. So this value here is going to be -4. And I'll go ahead and graph that. My point is 0, comma, -4. So 0, -4 would be right here. Next, I have 2. So let's go ahead and put that in. So I have 2 minus 4 is -2. I'll fill that in. And then I'll graph that. So I have 2, -2. And my last one is going to be 4. And 4 minus 4 is just 0. So I'll go ahead and graph that one. Now, you might notice something about the lines, the points that I just graphed, and that is that they are forming a line, a straight line. In fact, you're always going to get a straight line when you do these because these are linear functions, and we'll learn more about that later. But you can always use a table to create points and graph them, and they should fall in a line. If they don't fall in a line, then you've done something wrong, and you should go back and check your math. And I can see that they all line up. There's my linear equation. So let's see if we can do this one. I have, again, f of x really is just y. Here's f of x, and it's really just y. So I have y equals 3x plus 1. I'm going to go ahead and take these x values and replace them in here for x to find and fill in the rest of my table. So I have y equals 3. Remember, this is multiplication, 3 times x. So it's going to be 3 times -2 plus 1. So y equals 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 plus 1. So that's going to give me a negative 5. I'm going to fill that in. So now I know that when x equals negative 2, y equals negative 5. Put that in there. Here we go. Okay, see if we can just erase what we need to change. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go to my next value, which is negative 1. So I have 3 times negative 1 is a negative 3 plus 1. So negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Now fill that in. Go ahead and graph that. Negative 1, negative 2. Next, I have a 0. So 3 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 1 is 1. So 0, 1 would fall right here. Oops. Put that back in there, and that back in there. All right, we have one more to do. So now we're going to put in 1 for x. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 would be 4. And I'll graph that up here. And once again, you can see my points all showed up in a nice line. Go ahead and draw that line for us. And there it is. So because they all showed up in that nice line, I know that I'm correct. I know that my math was correct and I've graphed everything correctly. So that's all there is to creating function tables to graph the equations.